To see the fully uncut version of this video, head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons.
What's that like to live deliciously? Chaos reigns.
Please don't scream.
Nah, Sid! Don't you blame the movies! Movies don't create psychos! Movies make psychos more creative!
What's happening? My name is Jonjo Lyons, and today I'm here to present to you my review for Kidnapped. Written and directed by Miguel Angel Vivas, Kidnapped stars all of these lot. 3 Eastern European criminals burst into a home in a Madrid gated community, holding the family hostage in their own home and forcing the father to empty his credit cards. How you doing, my bunch of trash badgers, mouths overflowing with the semen of 666 seamen? It's that time again. Time to delve into another piece of overly violent, awful cinema. Well, not quite. This week we'll be taking a look at a film that's not only really good, but also a striking example of excellent filmmaking and, in a way, a stage play smashed onto the screen, so you know I'm gonna love it. I love the theatre. Kidnapped is an intense home invasion movie comprised of 12 long shots, pushing the talents of the cast and crew to astronomical heights with the added bonus of ultra violence and one of the most depressing endings I've seen in a while. I mean, it's not a Serbian film depressing, but it definitely stuck with me for a few days afterwards. The first time I saw that ending, the way it's shot, the harsh cut, it really f***ed with me. And I can't wait for it to with you too. But before we get into all of that, I just want to remind you, you can see this video completely uncut and early at patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons for as little as $3 a month. That's it. Want to see the uncut videos, gain access to the Discord and all the other Patreon exclusive stuff? Go over there now. We're entering a new era with the Patreon, now pushing uncut videos up to at least 4 a month, weekly movie nights, exclusive streams, maybe, and just a shitload of more content. I'm even going to start doing this sort of podcasty thing, maybe, called Monday Chats. We'll see how that goes. Just go and sign up. Oh, and thank you everyone who contributed to the crowdfund. The film is now in post-production, and I sent the most recent cut to our guy in LA doing the score, Alexander Taylor, and we've got a meeting with our sound designer hopefully next week. I could never have even come close to doing any of this without your help, so honestly, thank you so much. The first crowdfund I realised the other day is actually still open, so if you did miss out on any of the perks and you wanted to contribute in any way, you're more than welcome to click the link in the pinned comment in the description below. That way you can claim maybe your name in the credits or something, but yeah, as I say right now, I'm done plugging the crowdfunds. I'm gonna leave the links, but yeah, thank you so much. I'm done with that. But anyway, I'm in the mood to have the worst anxiety for 85 minutes and then be utterly depressed, so let's not waste any more time. Get ready to see the worst juice of a giant egg since I stuck one up my and it didn't break. This is Kidnapped. The movie begins with this fella taking a lie down in the woods, head fully bagged. He suddenly starts to gasp for air and makes his way to his knees as we see his hands are also tied. He stumbles around before taking another spill and getting back up. He's then almost hit by a car, before actually being hit by a car. The driver gets out and reveals the man's face as he splurts out something about his family, a remote and a door. He then tells the driver to get out his cell phone and reads out a number for him to call.
Dani, cariño, escúchame. No dejéis entrar a nadie. Meteos en casa, llamad a la policía. No dejéis entrar a nadie hasta que llegue la policía. ¿Me escuchas? No.
Papá, ¿qué hacen aquí? Han disparado a mamá.
Well, cut to this fella Jamie driving home from work. He arrives and heads inside as we see movers are putting their stuff in the house. Here we also meet Jamie's wife Marta and their daughter Issa, who's having a whinge about not being allowed to attend a party that night. Marta says she wants the 3 of them together tonight, but Issa isn't having any of it, saying she'll ask Dad instead and that she's going regardless when she takes a call. One of the delivery guys asks where to put this box that Issa shows him while on the phone. Box secured, she hangs up and asks how the man cut himself, and he says in an accident. He then takes the golf clubs to Jamie's safe room where he's stashing some envelopes. Jamie directs him to the next room and locks his safe, then calls out to his wife. He finds her and gives her a kiss, then asks about some files where Marta's call ends and the pair look forward to summer.
¿Y lo de internet cómo va?
¿Qué me cuentas? ¿Me vas a llamar tú?
No, perdona. Quedamos que al final llamabas tú.
Entre hoy y mañana está funcionando. Es que de verdad...
Damn, no porn for Papa tonight. Jamie complains something is caught in his teeth, then laments the fact that this sculpture didn't get lost in the move.
Nos deshacemos de ese engendro.
Si nos lo hubiera regalado tu mamá, seguro que no le tendrías tanta manía.
Someone is 100% getting their head bashed in with that later. Marta takes another call as in the background we see Issa start talking with her dad. He gives us some cash and she off when Marta's phone rings again and we cut to Issa putting on some music. She starts getting ready for the party, changing her top and putting on some lippy. She then heads over to the kitchen as Marta prepares their moving in celebration. Issa says she's not staying for dinner as her dad said she could go to the party, and they start to argue once again. Issa says she's meeting her boyfriend Caesar and Marta tells her to invite him for dinner, but the girl's mind is made up. She then goes to the bathroom to get changed when Marta storms over to Jamie to chew him out. Marta once again stresses about how much she wanted it to be the three of them tonight, but Jamie is much more relaxed about Issa being with her friends.
Que no es la única que se muda. Yo solamente quiero que cuentes conmigo, ¿sabes? Que me tengas en cuenta, que me apoyes.
True story, when I was watching this film for the first time, that moment made me jump out of my skin. Issa takes off running but is quickly caught by the other two home intruders and knocked the out. And so the party begins! Cut to these family photos as in the background we can hear the family in a bit of a state. We see they're sat on the sofa as the intruders start gathering up valuables. Oh, and by the way, the thieves are actually credited as Head Thief, Strong Thief, and Young Thief. I'll be referring to them by their first names from now on. Jamie tries to ask Head what they want but doesn't get a response. Instead, Head tells him to write down all of their credit card numbers as Young and Strong drop the women's bags to do the same. There's then a slight struggle but things calm down quick. Jamie writes the numbers down when Head asks for their cell phones as well. They hand over Marta and Issa's phones, but when Head asks where Jamie's is, he says it's in his office as he couldn't find it earlier. Head then rings Jamie's phone and Young goes off in search of it. He grabs the phone and it's then we see Young is the delivery man Issa was talking to earlier. He then heads back to the living room to find Jamie getting kicked on the ground and Marta with a bag on her head. Jamie then gives up the safe code, allowing Marta to be debagged. Head picks Jamie up as his daughter tries to run for him but is denied. After a struggle, Head is able to get Jamie downstairs to the garage where he shows him his horrid looking knife. He cuts Jamie's restraints and removes his mask as they're going to be going outside. He cleans his victim up and they both jump in the car, but when Jamie asks where they're going, Head just tells him to drive. Cut to Head and Jamie driving. Jamie again asks where they're going but doesn't get a response. He pleads with Head not to hurt his family and the thief tells Jamie it's not up to him. Jamie asks who it is up to and the thief tells him to stop the car. They exit the vehicle and before Jamie goes over to the ATM, he's instructed to extract the maximum amount from each card. Head then sends Jamie on his way, warning if there's any funny business, he just needs to make one phone call. Jamie understands and heads to the ATM where he waits behind this woman. And immediately breaks his promise.
Solamente necesito que me ayude. ¿De acuerdo? ¿Tiene un móvil? ¿Tiene un móvil? Necesito que llame a la policía. ¿Me ha entendido, por favor? Por favor, ¿me ha entendido?
Can't trust anyone these days. The woman runs away and Head gets in the car, causing Jamie to run back saying it was a misunderstanding. Head then screams at him to drive and they speed off. Jamie again tries to make an excuse but is silenced. Head once again tells Jamie to stop where he makes a call telling his boys to do what they want with the mother, that Jamie doesn't care. Head decides to give Jamie another chance and hangs up, telling him to start the car once more. Cut back to the house as Marta is being pinned to the ground. The thieves then begin to fight about Strong's treatment of the woman. It unfortunately looks like Strong wants to her, but instead picks up Issa. He's once again stopped by Young and it looks like the two are about to come to blows when the doorbell goes. Strong asks if they're expecting anyone and Marta says no when he goes to the door. Both Issa and Young help Marta to the sofa as the doorbell continues to ring. Strong then drags Issa to the door and asks who it is, but she says she doesn't know. She then admits he's a friend and gets dragged back to the sofa. When a second closer doorbell rings, the women call out to Caesar but are quickly shut up. Strong warns them not to make another sound as Young visibly panics. The men then open the door and drag the poor boy inside. Caesar says he came here when Issa didn't turn up to their meeting, and when they drag him into the living room, they discover the women doing a run-up. Now locked in the basement, the thieves threaten to kill Caesar if they don't open up. Caesar begs for them to open the door as Issa tries to escape through the window, but for some reason can't. We see the thieves find a sledgehammer when Strong threatens to shoot Caesar if they don't open up. He counts to 3 and a gunshot goes off, causing Issa to go to pieces. Strong then sledgehammers the door open as Issa escapes but is quickly caught by Young. Cut back to Jamie pulling money out of the ATM. As he does, he asks why them, and Head just tells him to keep going. Jamie tries to get Head to agree not to hurt him and his family, but once again this is ignored, which is not a good sign. The pair then get back to the car when Head offers the man his gun and tells him to fire it. Jamie doesn't move, saying he just wants this to be over, and the thief says he doesn't make deals, doesn't negotiate. Jamie then goes to turn on the engine again when Head stops him and sparks up. He says they're gonna wait till after midnight to get more money out of the ATM, and we cut back to the house where Issa is not dealing with Caesar's apparent death well.
Isa, por favor, cállate. No tenía culpa. Nosotras tampoco. Cállate, Isa, por favor, tranquilízate, mi amor. Nos van a matar. No nos van a matar, Isa. No nos van a matar, papá.
Strong then shuts them up and takes a seat before whacking on the telly and doing a cheeky bit of bag. Strong then f***s off to the kitchen and grabs himself some munch, which after doing a bump is absolutely ridiculous. Marta starts to struggle breathing, so Young removes the gag and goes to get her some water. That's when the doorbell goes yet again and Strong goes to check it out. He returns and tells Young to take the girl, turning up the TV and dragging Marta to the front door. There he tells Marta to get rid of their visitor before cleaning her up, untying her and hiding behind the door as Marta opens it. It's a security guard who says their neighbour heard screaming, but Marta says her husband puts the TV up too loud. The guard then asks if she's alright, saying she looks unwell, but Marta just says she's tired as they just moved in today. The guard then asks to come in for a moment as a routine check, and Strong unmasks, pretending to be Marta's husband. He invites the guard in and apologizes for disturbing the neighbors. The pair chit-chat when Marta returns and Strong offers the guard a coffee. Things get weird when Strong can't find the sugar and starts to drop his facade, saying something to the guard in Albanian.
Perdón, lo siento, pero no entiendo lo que me dice. Them Schwarzbüll.
Issa then screams and the jig is up. And he was only 23 years from retirement. Shame. After giving the guard a couple more stabs, the two thieves argue once again, with Young saying the women have seen Strong's face. Strong says they won't be able to say anything, then exposes Young's face. Everyone stands in stunned silence when Young tries to make a call, but Strong stops him. He then calls his colleague insane when Strong grabs hold of Issa and tries to separate her from her mother. Sensing his intentions, Marta tries to get Strong to take her instead, but he snaps her arm and drags Issa off. Young tries to pick Marta up, who's passed out from the shock and begins to cry. Cuts ahead calling but not getting an answer. They go back to the car with Jamie panicking that Head didn't get an answer when the cops pass. Head lies that his wife is on the phone, causing Jamie to get in the car, but when he does, the thief just tells him to drive. They leave as we cut back to the house where Marta is coming to, as Young says he didn't want this to happen. We then find out Caesar is alive!
Cállate.
¡Puta egoísta de mierda!
¡Cállate, hostia! ¡Cállate! ¡Cállate que te mato, ¿vale? ¡Cállate!
And very pissed off. Come on, man. Your girlfriend clearly doesn't love you. Young storms upstairs and discovers Strong Issa, so jumps on him and the two begin to wrestle. Issa then cracks Strong in the head and runs to her parents' room, locking herself inside. She moves to the bathroom, locking that door, while simultaneously we can see Jamie and Head driving back. The thief tells him not to get upset when they get home and that they'll be going to the bank in the morning, as what they got from the ATMs isn't enough. He says it'll be just a few hours, then he'll leave his family in peace. Strong continues to bang on the bathroom door when Issa finds some scissors and Jamie puts his foot on the gas. Head tells him to slow down and puts the gun to his head, but Jamie crashes the car just as Strong breaks into the bathroom. Issa stabs Strong and struggles to get away before smacking him with that egg sculpture we saw earlier. She then tries to run but is thrown back into the room when Strong checks his face and his eye is bulging out of the socket. Issa hits him again and then proceeds to bash his head in. Jesus Christ, that egg went right inside his head. Couldn't have happened to a nicer bloke. Back at the car, Jamie wakes up and takes Head's gun as Issa stumbles away from the puddle that used to be Strong. She tries to get out the front door when Young tells her to get away from it. She then runs to the kitchen and takes a spill in the guard's blood before grabbing his gun. She takes a shot at Young, but he comforts her, then takes the gun and pistol whips her with it. Young then takes off running, bumping into Jamie at the front door. The men don't shoot each other, however, with Jamie letting the man leave before entering his home and calling out for his family. He sees his daughter and asks if anyone is left as the pair have a cuddle and the two shots beautifully combine. He asks whose blood Issa is covered in and where her mother is when they hear her and run downstairs. The family then have a little cuddle when Jamie grabs Caesar's cell phone to call the police. He goes upstairs to get a signal and makes the call when Head appears behind him and puts that sledgehammer to good use.
Camino de Simancas 35. Urbanización Mori.
Definitely no porn for Papa tonight. Marta discovers the mess and has a whinge before taking a shot at Head, which of course she misses. She tries to shoot again, but the gun jams, so Head takes it off her and returns the favour. That's when Caesar and Issa enter, with the former getting shot when he tries to run. Issa then goes into total shock at the sight of the destruction of her entire family, then falls to her knees. And we get the most shocking and horrible endings to a horror movie that I've seen in a very long while.
Oh, Isabella, don't cut your hair.
The end! Well, hell. Absolutely haunting. Good stuff. Kidnapped is a mean-spirited little hidden gem that not only manages to depress with its ultra-dark ending, but also impress with great performances and a filmmaking technique that must have taken so much rehearsal and guts to pull off. The story is simple enough, with a well-off family moving into a new home only to be set upon by 3 home invaders intent on stealing as much as they can from them. And that quite literally is it. No real twists or late in the game revelations. Just a dire situation that continues to get worse until its inescapable ultra-violent end. Onto the characters, and we have a lot of good stuff here. The interplay with the family all works extremely well, with the parents' relationship with each other and of course their daughter all very believable. Speaking of the daughter, Issa might have the best performance in the entire film. In a role that could have become very annoying very quickly, her going from carefree teenager to terrified victim to avenger and finally to somebody absolutely broken beyond repair was amazing to watch. And then there's Caesar, who's fine, I guess. With the thieves, these guys are also quite interesting, if not as much as the victims. Head plays it the most subtle and really comes across as someone who just wants to get in and out with the least amount of resistance possible. You never really know if the family are fated to die by the end of the night, and that's really down to his performance and the way the character is written. Less subtle, however, is Strong, who is just a real piece of shit from the start and only gets worse as the film goes on. A total psychopath who it seems had already decided the family were going to die from the start. Seeing him get egged by Issa was incredibly satisfying. Finally, there's Young, who I'm so happy to say isn't treated the way I thought he was going to be. Well, not entirely. Yes, he is the most sympathetic to the family, and yes, he does kind of save Issa at one point, allowing her to fight off Strong, but at that moment in the kitchen where you expect him to hug Issa and carry her outside to her returning father, instead he pistol whips her and still steals the bag full of valuables. He might not be as bad as Strong, but he's still a piece of shit with a job to do. It's that type of character complexity that is seldom seen in stories of this nature, and I absolutely loved it. In a movie that lives and dies on its character work, I think this is one that handles them extremely well. Onto the gore, and while it does take quite a long time to get there, when it does, we're treated to some super nasty moments. Strong's egg to the face was absolutely brutal, justifiably so, as his martyr's shot through the face and Caesar's bullet to the back of the head, but for me, Issa getting stabbed a billion times with that horrid scream and that hard cut to credits really affected me. It's just so sudden and brutal that it made my blood run cold, and that really doesn't happen often. Again, this is all left to the end of the film, but it would have been nice to have some violence spread throughout. Also, I'm kind of pissed we didn't get to see what was left of Papa's head after that sledgehammer, but other than that, it was great. Onto the presentation, and everything looks lovely here. Sound, editing, lighting, all perfect, but the real star is the filmmaking technique behind it. As someone that recently shot their own short film, I can tell you, putting in long takes where you intentionally don't cut away is incredibly risky and takes a lot of preparation. everything has to be perfect, especially when the camera involves this amount of movement in some of those long takes, but to do 12 of them in a row, that's crazy. It's like shooting 12 mini plays, and with the amount of intense emotion some of the characters are going through, that had to be incredibly hard on everyone involved. Seriously, congratulations on what I think is a achievement. In the end, Kidnapped is an impressive piece of cinema that is a wonderful watch until that savage ending. I don't think I have really much negative to say apart from my usual I wish there was more gore. From a filmmaking perspective, this movie is excellent, and if you love films of this nature or just filmmaking in general, I highly recommend it. Give it a go. Just make sure you have something fun and light-hearted to watch afterwards. Like a snuff film or something. So that was my review for Kidnapped. What do you lot think? I love this movie. Great performances, great direction, and a steady devolution into ultra violence. What more could you want? Speaking of violence, that ending shot was it touched me in a way that I haven't been touched since I was 6 years old. Primary school was a nightmare. Speaking of which, if you want to see the worst Easter of all time, completely uncut and early, head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons. There you can find the uncut version of this review, plus others with more stuff being added all the time. We got the uncut reviews, Patreon exclusive reviews, / comic breakdowns in the Discord. And all that could be yours for as little as $3 a month. You can pledge more, I really appreciate it, as I need to get some better locks on my door. And a bigger knife. I've got my buck 120 and that will carve through a face like butter, but I can't quite chop off a head with one swing. No, I need something bigger for that. So that's it for another week. Like the video, leave a comment, and click subscribe if you haven't already. My name's Jonjo Lyons, and the next time you feel like your life is one horrible, sad, dark slog to a painful end, just remember, it is. And no one loves you. F*** you. See you next time.